Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Chris, aka SSJ Blackrot, aka Mr. Muckluck, aka the Great One. I don't know why I spaced it out that way, but I changed it up a little bit. Welcome to That's Unfortunate podcast. We are a society / culture / a little bit of everything podcast. And thank you for tuning in. It's episode 19. And I'm joined by co-hosts Velvet and Jade. Velvet, hi. Jade, how you doing?
Good. Find me on social media on Instagram at VELVETISABELX.
I'm also doing swell as always. You can find me on social media, well, Instagram specifically at Jade is confused because I'm confused. And on any other platform, which, by the way, I've kept my new Twitter for longer than a month.
Yay.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Isn't it? Well, now apparently they're being aggressive towards racists. So I don't know. That's weird. That's suspicious. But anyway, you can find me on everything else at Jade Cooley because that's my name. Jade Cooley. And I am joined here by Mikki Cooley.
Yes.
You should notice we share similar last names. Yeah, I think it's pretty coolly that I got to have my mom here.
Wow. Thank you for letting me be here.
And how you doing? What's going on?
I'm here, and I'm going to help you guys out tonight as far as any questions you may have. Like I said, thank you, Jade, Velvet, and Chris over there for inviting me on here. And like I said, this is all new to me, so bear with me.
Glad to have you on, honestly.
Yeah, you're an icon.
If you tune into the live show, great content.
Yeah, my mom's hilarious. She's one of my favorite people. So, and she says, a lot of the things that make me me. And people like me, and I'm like, well, I'm my mom done over, so you should meet the original.
So, let's go ahead and jump into the icebreaker for the episode. So, coming off of this crazy election, I don't know, it's sort of funny leading into the elections, seeing people who you thought were just normal people being full-blown Trump supporters.
Yes. Getting all crunk.
Yeah. Yes.
It was wild.
Knock if you buck.
Oh, yeah.
So I felt like I had an experience in the past week where I went back and I saw a friend of mine was sort of struggling, needed, to hang out with people because of COVID, them being quarantined the whole time. Mm-hmm. Not really seeing people. So drove out, we hung out, but I don't know, the conversation started leaning towards politics.
Oh, yikes.
And
oh, yikes.
She was saying some weird stuff.
Oh, yikes.
I brought up the fact that Trump is best friends with a bunch of dictators. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, he's just a businessman.
Oh, come on. Putin's a nice guy.
He rides horses.
Shirtless.
So this friend I had this whole time, I was like, wow, I had no idea that you were just a Trump supporter. I didn't bring it up because, like I said, the whole thing was just for mental health, trying to making sure my people are good. So I was in my head, I'm blown, but we still just hung out.
This is why you don't have friends. Well, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's kind of where do we draw the line? What is political and what is human rights? Because I don't think that should be the same thing. Stop playing politics with not just women's bodies but people's bodies. That's scary. That's really scary. If you're in a free state, why are you voting for an oppressor? Every single time you're voting for an oppressor, you get to pick the person who tells you what to do. At the end of the day, you don't have freedom. You have the right to pick. You and your neighbor have the right to pick what you do.
Yeah,
that's weird.
So that sort of sparked the question in my mind, what if I was dating somebody and all of a sudden I found out that they were just, for everything that I was against?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Would you be able to date that person?
No.
Why?
Yeah, why not?
No, why? Why would you? No,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to build a relationship like a country, I mean, I hate to say it, y'all have to be on the same page. if you want to be married, if you want to let gay people marry, if you know, all of this stuff has to be this divide is like large. It's larger than I've ever seen in my life. And no, somebody with a different view, you have to have the same goals to make things work.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I co-sign on that. Like I asked this question to a couple of people, and some people they feel like they can look past that.
This is not a football team. This is people's rights.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is not, even football teams probably not. But
Differences of opinion is like some people like coleslaw, and other people are smart, intelligent people who don't eat it.
it's good.
And like
Coleslaw's good.
I was just like, yeah, I don't mind it.
that's what the devil's lettuce actually is. And first of all, not in my good Christian suburbs. But I think that's a difference of opinion. Whether or not we should allow police to continue to just brutally murder people and treat people like garbage. That's like that's a morality issue.
Right. Yeah,
And when you have to make a relationship, I'm sorry, but I'm pressing limits right now. Like the man I'm with is not political at all. That is me already pressing a boundary that I've set that I need for somebody to have an opinion, because silence is consent to the oppressor. Mm-hmm. The people who are in charge right now don't care about us, and if you are silent, then you are cohesive and understanding, but you don't cooperate because there's too much evidence for you to ignore.
He who shall not be named.
Well, Donald.
No, oh,
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, if you're sitting there and you're, if you're silent and you're not saying it out loud, you're giving it power to exist.
Oh, that's the message she was trying to get.
Oh, you're pretty.
Thank you.
But no, I mean, honestly, if
full
you just,
circle.
yeah.
yes. Oh my god.
You got what I meant, right? Full circle that. Jade always says that.
okay.
So now to hear
to
Jade's
hear-
mom saying it to Jade.
Oh my God, I told y'all my
it's
mom done
good.
over.
Y'all listen, y'all don't understand. I'm hearing things that Jade says all the time. And I'm looking down, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I get it now.
Yeah, I tell everybody that's why so many times I'll be like, I sound like my mama. Or if I'm somewhere, I'll be like, I sound just like my mom.
It's not the worst thing in the world. I've been told I'm the nicest asshole that you'll ever meet. So I can get my point across.
I'm a little more sensitive than her, though. I cry a lot.
I don't.
I cry all the time.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the first topic of the episode, and sort of leaning into what you just said, Jade. Let's talk about bridging generational gaps, because I feel like it's something that everyone deals with.
Yeah.
Your parents are from a certain generation.
Yeah.
Your grandparents. Then at this point, some people, now you're your sibling. Now you're the old person.
Right.
Yes.
Let's
chat. Let's just talk. What are some things that we could talk about?
Well, when I first met my mom, one of the things that drew me into this family was that they shared a lot of the same opinions as me. But the only thing that I had an issue with at first was that my mom did have opinions that they were aligned with mine, but the people she supported did not share that view with her. And one of my favorite quotes that she says, a lot of the things that I say, all the time, that my friends were like, wow, that's an interesting perspective. I get that from my mom. Me and her have conversations about this stuff all the time. And, it's that people who don't have information should not be punished for not having information. If you were truly ignorant to something, then you will think that this is the way that life is supposed to be, and that it's okay, until somebody you love or care about, or somebody comes to you in a way that is just presenting information, not presenting an opinion. And we've been able to have so many conversations where I have now even myself become more analytical. I've become more logical in my processes. It's not based off of feelings, it's based off of fact and information. And that's something I got from her.
So, I guess, what is something that we could tell people to start doing to sort of bridge that in their own life?
What you've heard your whole life is not Well, the gospel. It's not. It's not all the truth. Because, I mean, if that was true, then there would be 14 packs of gum in my intestines for all the gum that I swallowed. I would have drowned so many times for jumping in after I ate something. So these are things that we were taught growing up. We did not have the same opportunity for information that you guys have. So the fact that you are, I told somebody this not too long ago, and Jay can attest to it, Google it before you talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, y'all, we have technology that you guys have never had.
Right, so the fact that you're ignoring it, that doesn't make you ignorant. That makes you dumb.
Exactly.
That you
Especially
ignoring
it's so accessible at this point.
Yes. Like, how long does it take to type something into Google and getting an answer? Like, less than 0.5 seconds.
Well, I mean, not even just that, like, there's been ways that, like, my little sister, she's 5, right?
Oh,
6, I'm sorry. Me and her had a conversation about bees, and she was like, bees sting, and I was like, not all of them. And she was like, okay. Well, we look at her search history all the time because, you know, we don't let the internet raise our children. And we looked at, the search history basically said, what bees sting? Do bees sting? She searched it and came back to me with evidence, and she was like, Jade, you were right.
Oh my God, stop. That's
like,
just
she's
so cute.
6. She's doing research, and she is beyond the level. Like, she's coming up with words like, she used the word flamboyant the other day. She used the word buoyancy. You know, she'll be like, the details in this are similar, or the details in that, like, differ. Like, big words like that. And she's 6. Because she has access to information. She has access to, like, technology.
I'm not raising my kids on this fact of, well, okay, this is what I know, so this is what you have to know. So that's to me, that's a lot of the problem. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No. So now I sort of see what Jade was talking about some of the stuff that I want to talk about, like technology. That's something that I think we could ask in the interview. Yeah. Because I think technology is a huge part. Giant.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can let's go ahead and jump into the interview. And once again, thank you, Mikki, for being on this episode.
I'm cool with it. I'm fine.
Greatly appreciate it.
Like, honestly, I feel like I'm at home.
And look, that's the feeling. Look, that's the feeling. That's the feeling that I want the guest to have. Right? But then also, I've heard people say that when they watch the show, they feel like they're in the conversation.
Oh yeah, most of.
Yeah.
You know,
you see the puns. You see where it comes from. We're filming at my house right now because Bella's didn't have internet, and the pun master right here. Thank you. Oh God.
But and the puns are so refined. It's like I hear it and I'm like, that was really good.
Like sometimes they're thinkers and sometimes they're stinkers. So we'll just throw them up and see what happens.
Oh, that was funny.
All right, so we got some questions to ask you. And these questions, I feel like our listeners, they'll hear it and they'll be like, I wonder if my parent has a point of view on this question. So, take this video, take this episode, this clip, whatever it is at this point, and send it to your parents.
Yeah, let's see what's up.
See what's up.
Yeah, I think it's a very important conversation to have. Because,
everybody's so scared to talk to their parents.
Yes,
that's all your parents want.
The most influential people in the world to parents are their kids. Like, overall, you can make or break. You can be the difference. If that's who they are deep down on their insides, if they don't like you because of who you're banging, then, I mean, that's their own problem. I don't want to know what's going on in my kid's bedroom. I mean, that's gross.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
So, like,
I mean, grandbabies, can we talk about that? But other than that, I don't care how they get here.
All right, so I have some questions.
What's up?
First question is, how did you, just growing up in the conservative South, how did you challenge racial stereotypes?
Well, first off, I accepted everybody for who they were because I am totally different. I am, I guess what they would call a tomboy and everything else. So it was really easier for me to see outside the box. Plus, I was beefy. So I would sit on you and beat you up if you bothered anybody that was around me. Like, I had a kid, in school that was one of my best friends, and I knew at that point, no matter what, that he was gay. There's just no doubt in my mind. But he was one of my best friends throughout all of school. And then, another one, it's just kind of, I don't know, they were just there, and they were people. And you just treated them like people.
Yes.
And it didn't matter what you look like. I mean, if you're awesome, you're awesome. As long as you didn't stink. I mean, and we can still deal with that. It's called deodorant, man. I got you. So, I mean, that's really it. Nobody treats anybody like a person. It's, what can you do for me? Okay, y'all have seen Fairly Odd Parents, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like, I've went back to this 1,000 times. Conservative South, or conservatives in general, I don't want to group them together like that. I would say people who give two shits about everybody else when they shouldn't. Okay, y'all remember the episode of the Gray Blobs? Where
yes.
everybody turned into a gray blob?
Pixies.
Yes. And then, no matter what, everybody was still hating everybody, and they were all gray. Because you aren't gray enough, or you didn't live in the right gray house, or whatever. People are constantly going to hate. But you as a person, if you see something wrong, then deal with it. It's in your face. Don't let somebody just crap all over somebody else. Everybody's a person, and they deserve to be treated as much. Even the Bible tells you, be good to other people. Do unto others, that's the golden rule of life.
So would you say that everything that you just said, would you say that people that have like the same background as you, right now, we just got past the election, Georgia flipped blue. You're going to have these conversations about what we're talking about right here.
All right. Well, look, everybody wants to talk about it, especially, let's say where I'm from, as far as, being, turning red or Trump or whatever. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to talk about the Karens. And that they're, look at what we're doing. We're here and we're the bitchy people who want all the change and everybody to hush. Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing that Karen does better than anybody else, and that's write a fucking letter. And that's exactly what every single one of them did. Everybody who actually gave a shit, they were like, we're not going to stand at the polls, you dumbasses. We're just going to go ahead and mail our ballot in. And this was a plan from the beginning, just like empty rallies and everything else. This was the overall end game. So, yay. Go, guys. I'm so proud of y'all. Congratulations. Yay. So, I was proud of the people around me at that point. That's what happened when it flipped blue, because I was scared for my kids. And no, that's the last thing you want as a parent, is to be scared for your kids. My kids should be able to grow up wherever the hell they want. Well, be whatever they want.
Yeah, so how can today's generation start the discussion about denouncing prejudices in a way that will allow room for their parents to listen? Like, how can they have that conversation?
Like, a lot of things, for the most part, we just shove it in our parents' face. Like, I just brought home the black kid or the gay kid or the whatever. I'm like, say something. Bet you won't. Say something. So, no, I mean, I outright talk to my parents, but I had a freedom in my house that most kids don't. Like, I was an asshole, and my mom knew it. And if it came out, it came out. So we talked about it. And to me, that's it. It's all conversation. Like, the little PSA ads, constantly talk to your kids. Well, fucking do it. Like, sit down and talk to your parents, talk to your kids. It doesn't matter. My grandfather is almost 80 years old. Well, I asked him, not too long ago, I'm like, how would you feel if I was gay? And he was like, well, can I look at your girlfriend? I'm like, whatever.
Well, I think there's a lot of painful conversations that have to be had. Like, my mom, excuse me for blasting you like this, but, like, she's been very transparent. We've both been very transparent with each other. And she talked about learned behaviors that she had, and, like, she told me she came home one day. Well, no, we were actually in the car together, and there was a guy who pulled up behind us, and he went to say something. He rolled down his window. He slowed down really slow. His car was like, he had these thin little rims. I mean, the thin tires. It was kind of like, typical 2000s, like.
He was in an Interceptor. Yeah, he was in a Crown Vic.
Yeah, it was kind of stressful.
Yeah.
But, like, whenever he pulled up. Yeah, we live in the hood, by the way. But my mom was like, she told me afterward, and she was like, I realized what you were talking about, like the internal racism, like not actively believing it, but like hearing it in your head because your parents said it so much.
Yeah.
And she was like, I was like, and my first thought was a black man's pulling up to my window. And she was like, but immediately her second trigger thought, because she's aware, was, I hope my kids never think like that.
And I stopped.
And she
was like, even if the motherfucker's going to kill me, I'm like, hey. What's up, guy?
Like,
what
because
do you want?
she's realized logically that's not true, but like,
but it's drilled into your
head.
That
is
like,
a hard conversation
to
have with people. It's like admitting that, like, wow, like that's been years of my family believing this and drilling this into my head and being afraid of people.
And no, just the culture here in general.
Yeah.
I mean, and no, if anybody is different than you, they're scary. It doesn't matter. That is what, down here you live in a tight-knit community. When I grew up, there was like 17,000 people in all of Henry County. By the time I graduated high school, we were up in, the 70, 80,000, almost 100,000, range. So I grew up in a school that started out as maybe 4% to 96% white.
Whoa.
So, like, yeehaw, I grew up on a dirt road, and then they paved it, and I was pissed. So, when I say in the middle of nowhere, my first truck was bigger than me.
Wow.
I had no problem with it. But at the same time, we did not, we didn't treat people, like, out the way. Like, it didn't matter what you were. Like, I beat your ass. Don't talk to people like that. That's really how I dealt with a lot of it. You just saw my book. Like,
it's your juvenile record book.
Right.
Which was a scrapbook my grandma made for her. I think that explains a lot about me as a person. Sorry about it.
But no, I mean, once again, it's conversation. People need to start talking about it and dealing with it.
Velvet, you had some questions too.
Yes.
What's up, Bill?
Like you mentioned, that you were a bit of a tomboy. So, what was your experience like as a female in your industry? Because I know your industry is not.
Yeah, first of all, tell us what your industry is.
Yeah.
Well,
How about it?
I am the only certified female garage door installer in the state of Georgia. There are females that do smaller things, but as far as what I do, I've been the only one for years. Taking a break after my daughter and everything else. So what I do is anything a man does, but sometimes better.
Most of the time better.
Just a little bit.
But the two of us.
Yeah, I'm a welder. I'm a mom. I'm a business owner. I'm a teacher of sorts because everybody asks me everything. I'm 15 brains a day.
Everything I learned, I've learned from her.
Applause for that. 'Cause that's good stuff. That's aspirational.
Well, I wouldn't have. The thing is, I would not have known how to open up a garage door business if I did not have my mom. I would not have known how to run a painting crew or have a painting crew or even how to paint had it not have been for my mom. Like, she saw a talent, she picked up on it, and from there are the connection and the learning and understanding of the industry and the people just grew. So, kudos to this woman because she's honestly a fucking pioneer.
I caught my boss laughing at me one day, and I'm walking to the truck, and I'm like, "Dad, what are you laughing at?" He's like, "I've never had an installer carry a purse to a truck." And I'm like, But once again, me being a tomboy, we'll go back to this identity things and stuff like that. I was not allowed to be a girly girl and a tomboy at the same time, if that makes sense. It was like I had to be one or the other. Even then, I still could not choose. The fact that I wear 6-inch heels now, you caught me dead in that shit a long time ago. I wore 2 dresses until I was grown, and there's a picture of one of them, which is the one I got married in. And then, what the fuck did I wear another one?
It was the you told me about it. It was the wedding.
No, it was when I did the Easter pictures, and everybody had coordinating outfits.
match,
them people,
same
right?
color.
Yeah, it
was
was
3.
Yeah, them people. We had to have some I'm the shit pictures. So we did that. But I mean, for the most part, I was not allowed to be one or the other. It was okay. I constantly made people feel useless. By that I mean males, not people, dudes. Yeah, they're
they're still people.
Yeah. They are people. Sorry, I'm married to one of those people. But I spent my 3rd date with my husband replacing his transmission.
Oh.
So he was holding the skid plate while I was, putting in the clutch and a flywheel. That's me. That's what I love to do. Anything with my hands is. But, things like school were hard for me because it was like, oh, we'll go do aerobics. And I'm like, fuck you, I want to power lift. So that's, I did. I had to go talk to an actual coach to be able to lift with the guys because I benched 170 and I could squat 345. So there was not a single chick that could actually, spot me because you have to be able to lift that much. Yeah. So I had to go talk to the coach for me to be able to get one of the scrawny dudes to lift with me because it was just so unheard of. Like, you want to talk about gender benders? I watched a girl try out for the football team and watched her get sacked by the biggest guy there because they didn't want her there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, I graduated in 2004.
Oh shit.
Yes, this is how long and this is how deep things are still going to this day.
Yes. 100%.
There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do whatever the hell you want. And I mean, the same thing with your car or whatever.
I mean, you've had ladders shaken.
Oh, yeah.
You told me about
Oh yeah, I've been hazed like hell.
Yeah.
Like, there's been days where I've sat in the middle of a field. They told me, they were like, look, if you want to do this, this is what you got to do. All right, well, growing up with a gang of brothers and just everything being around dudes my whole life, I'm like, fucking, okay, this is what they do to each other. They haze the shit out of each other. So I'm sitting there at 114 degrees in Picayune, Mississippi, at a waste management plant. The only way I could drive the tractors was putting up a paper fence by myself. And this is chicken wire. It's for paper, so it doesn't blow everywhere. So I had to run almost 2,000 linear foot of fence by myself in the heat. And then they told me, well, all right, well, you're almost done. Then they went and took one of the track hose and dumped it in the retaining pond, covered it in mud. They said, wash it.
Oh my God.
That's how I got, but I sat out there and, like I said, 114 degree heat, sweating my ass off, crying, pulling fence because I'll be damned. Yeah. I will be damned.
With that being said, so like what, in hearing those types of experiences, like what advice would you give a woman who's coming up in a male-dominated workforce?
It's all male-dominated.
True.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. In the end, some dude did it. They did it. They started it. Now you're fucking pissing them off by coming up. So have fun with that. The best advice that I can give to you is to generally have a fucking attitude. Because literally, that's all they're going to want to do is fuck it. So, you do it the opposite way. Fuck you, dude. Like, do your thing. As a woman, you should always feel empowered. There is nothing that you can't do in this entire world just because you have a vaginas. I mean, I don't know.
Gender inclusive.
Like they'll watch me tote something up, or I've had women sit in the garage and video me while I'm working. They're like, "Oh my God!" Like, you should not be shocked by this at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Like, no, this should not be a shocking issue. Anybody can do anything. Why are you shocked because I'm out in the kitchen and in your garage fixing your shit?
Well, I mean,
Don't
the
be
thing
shocked.
is
Do it.
the only reason why I was able to do what I did and like have as much resilience is because she's done it first. Like, the things that I've faced, the challenges that like people like looking at me second, treating me like shit, saying things that like running me off of jobs. I mean, my mom has like done it all. I mean, we've sat in the car and cried together because this shit hurts our. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it doesn't hurt our feelings. It's a very like vulnerable thing to be going through, but at the same time, where you can pack your shit and get back up and like take your bag and walk away from it at the end of the day, like that's. I mean, watching her do it day by day, like chuckling and then reminding people that she is.
I still make more money than you.
Yeah, yeah, and like letting people know that like it's her who runs it, not her husband, not another man. She is her own boss. She wakes up when she wants to and goes to work when she feels like it.
Yeah, they don't like it, but I do what I want.
So like I think, you know, having that like reminder.
But everybody can.
Yeah, she's polite about it though, so that's also something like she'll be an asshole, but like she'll also be respectful. Like if she's pushed, she shoves when she's pushed.
Yes.
I want to like quickly throw in, you know, I just hearing y'all say all that sort of reminded me of this past weekend with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris being voted in. Kamala's speech, like seeing her on stage, you know, it's crazy. We have our first female in the White House, first African American female in the White House, and I think also first South Pacific Islander. She's all of that.
Yeah, I think so.
She's a queen.
Yes.
It's really good to see, and I loved seeing on social media people taking pictures of like their daughters watching Kamala speak. So just seeing that symbolism of like, yo, you could do anything. I think next thing is the presidency. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but still nobody's, like I said, all of this is well and good. Like, I can sit here and I can tell you every single cool thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I've built kitchens when I was y'all's age. I traveled around the country. That's how I learned how to weld. I was in New York, but at the same time, we need more people on an everyday, if that makes sense. Because a little girl, yes, she may want to be an astronaut or whatever, but if mom's a damn cook or a maid or, you know, dad's beating the shit out of her, then that's still what she sees.
Yeah.
So I think we need, you know, leaders on a more private level, you know, influencers and all these, you know, like I got pissed off at my daughter for JoJo Siwa or whatever, sorry her name. But no, like accurate representation, more geared towards like you have all these algorithms, do something with it. Like put it right here in these girls' face. I understand that she did a good thing. Cool job, Miss Harris. Like I'm super proud of you gaining office, but like we need something closer to home sometimes. Like somebody just in your school, your neighborhood, your community that you can deal with. Like that's an ideal, that's like a Madonna type figure. Yes, you want to get there. Everybody wants to be the president. But we need to do something closer to home, like to empower our girls and empower our women. That's a question that I would really like to ask her. Like overall, what's up? How you gonna help us? Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like how are we gonna address this issue? Because above race and everything else, women are still down here.
Mm-hmm. Like I was gonna bring up that point, like how I mean. It was a huge moment for Obama to become president.
Mm-hmm. Yes, most definitely.
But he was a minority because it was a black man. That's huge. But where a man had to just hop, whereas a white man had to literally do nothing, a black man had to hop, while a woman of color had to sprint, jump, and leap, and she still only got vice president.
She's still behind a white ass dude. So.
Exactly, and I think like that's.
I mean, it's
poetic
still
to a degree.
It's still a start,
right?
It's a start. It's a start. It's huge, but it's also like I would like to reiterate that there's work that needs to be done, right. In regards to, you know, the female community and female empowerment.
Right, and that I think that's what I would like. You know, like I said, I'm glad she's there, but at the same time, I would like to. You know, are we going to do something other than Girl Scouts for our little girls? So they can be president, so they can work on cars, so they can do all this other stuff. Are we going to do something other than, you know, be a career politician? Because I'm not trying to be a butthole or anything, but the majority of us aren't career politicians. No. That's not what we want to do with our life. And I'm not saying it's not.
I was going to say, I've seen a lot of those on Facebook over the past, like, month.
Yes.
Everyone is, like, some sort of, like, politician now.
If I hear John Ossoff one more time.
It's like, yo, I remember graduating with, I remember seeing you in high school crying that you were failing social studies.
Exactly. Like, what are you telling me now?
Like, you work at Ingalls. Chill out.
Yeah. No, if we actually did, like, like a grade check on some of these people. No offense, you don't know if your doctor is an A student or a C student. You have no clue. Same thing with your politician. Isn't that great?
Oh, that's actually really fair.
Yeah.
Wow. If they're going to hold us to a standardized test, why aren't we holding them?
We need to turn them into, like, created characters in video games. Got to give them ratings and everything.
I love this.
But yeah, definitely props to the vaginas. We raised ourselves to the White House, other than being under the desk. So that's really cool.
God damn.
No, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, you got to think.
God damn.
Like 20 years ago, that's what we're sitting here thinking is fucking Monica Lewinsky.
That's the first name that popped into
But nobody talks about JFK needing, you know, head every day because he has headaches. And for different women.
Was that his excuse?
Yes.
That man.
I know, I have a headache. I have a headache.
Huh.
Every day. But nobody, I'm not the president, so nobody gives a fuck.
Exactly.
And nobody's let me cheat on my husband. So, but, you know, you have a lot of privileges in certain offices. But, you know, I am super glad, once again, I don't want to diminish the fact of how far we have come as far as being females and everything else. Like, that is awesome that she's there. And, you know, I'm like kind of hopeful for the future, and that's something new.
You got one more.
Oh, okay. So how do you balance operating a business and being a mother?
Drugs. Oh no, sorry.
I'm done.
It's not really drugs. Some of it is, but no, actually, the real balancing act is you not having a choice in the matter. Like that's really it. You have a bunch of people that love you, and it's like I told her, you know, when you're dealing with employees and people. I mean, I hate to say employees, and I tell everybody that works for me, you don't work for me. We work together. There's nothing that you're gonna do that I'm not. But balancing it all is pure hell. Sometimes it's the best thing I've ever done. And, you know, my constant advice to everybody is just kind of chill the fuck out. Like, it'll be all right. That's how I deal with it. Is my overall mantra in my head is it'll be all right one day at a time. Like, no matter what they throw at me. I mean, this one's like, I'm in jail. Or that one's like, you know, I'm in fucking homeschool. Now you're a teacher, Mom. Fuck you. Here's your life. So, I mean, you just kind of like you do it. Like every day you just damn do it.
You have no choice.
No, but I love it. It's the coolest job ever that I wish I could escape from.
I love the honesty though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like any mother who maybe like has a lot going on, like, can agree with that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, just any mother who doesn't even have a lot going on can definitely agree with that.
Yeah, she's super. Well, I think the fact that she is so transparent is why she's so relatable and like very easy to talk to. Is because like she acknowledges like a lot of things about yourself that like are a little bit like not so happy to talk about, but you put them in a light that like you just kind of own it at that point. You know what I mean?
Can I tell y'all Mommy's secret?
What's Mommy's secret?
Like we're gonna do this because it's a mom's secret.
Do I have to cover my ears?
Yes. No, you're fine. Your ears are already covered with the thing you're supposed to be hearing from. But the mommy's secret is we're fucking people too.
Yes.
Like, that's it. Like, if we suck, we're awesome. And then we suck again. And then life sucks. And then everything's good. But we are fucking people. Your mom is a person. Like, every time she hit you with a shoe, you damn deserved it. Take your shit. When you spit one out, you'll hit them with a shoe too. Like, forgive her, like, and understand that as a parent, we are people. And that's hard for us. Y'all are old enough to understand, and anybody who should be listening to this podcast is old enough to understand that your parents are people. And, you know, they are who they are. So talk to them. They raised you, and obviously you're not an idiot because you're listening to us. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just talk to them. I mean, you had to get it from somewhere, right?
Well, I mean, I know that you growing up, like not particularly with your parents, but other members in your family, you had a hard time like getting through to them about certain belief systems. And I mean, you had a lot of challenges being as outspoken as you were. So like, what specific challenges did you face being as outspoken of the LGBT community and of like, you know, your rural conservative cities?
Everybody thought I was butch. I mean, that was it. Everybody thought that, you know, I was going to go out and, you know, chase girl ass. I mean, girls are pretty, don't get me wrong, but I'm good. You know, they just don't. They don't
Well, I mean,
float
but
my
like
boat
with your
that,
family,
but-
I mean, I know you had like a lot of people, like even Granddaddy, he was a little bit weird about it at first, but you know, it wasn't something that like up until you brought it up, he was ever gonna like think about.
That's because I have to bring it up. Like, and the best thing to do to your parents and the most fun thing to me is to piss them off. So that's what I did. And that's where it all stemmed from, is I wanted to be that fucking annoying to see how hard I could push their buttons. That's where the conversations came about and all this other stuff, because I was trying to figure out how far I could go before they didn't love me anymore. Well, we've been there, we've been back, and they still love me. So that's, I mean, it was all about me pushing boundaries. That's how I figured out what they did and what they didn't want. You know, obviously I wouldn't have known my parents were racist assholes if I didn't ask them. You know, my mom's not. My stepdad really wasn't. But it wasn't a common, you know, obviously I could probably be gay before I dated a black guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and wholeheartedly, you know, if I had met one and fell in love, I would have been like, look it. He's black. Don't you love it? So, but that's how defiant I am. But at the same time, you know, the race thing was always a bigger deal than the LGBT for some reason. Yeah. Like,
That's
most stuff.
crazy.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I could be with a chick, just not a black chick.
Well, I mean, but like, what challenges?
That's
I'm sorry.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's another thing that I wanted. Like,
No, that's
you know,
how deep the stupidity runs.
Yeah.
like wholeheartedly, and that's the way I feel about it. It's stupid. And like I said, that's why I pushed my parents so hard, and I figured out who they really were. You know, and I meet people every day, and you know, like gay is a choice. Like, don't start with me. You choose to be gay.
Yeah. What challenges did you face having 2 kids who chose to be gay within that community?
It's all the stupid people around me. Like everybody wants to treat me like some martyr, but I'm a parent. Like, if your kid wanted to do ballet, you would be like, yay, look at my little princess. So my kid wants to be fucking flamboyant, wear feathers, and go to the pride parade. Shut up. I'm fine with that. Like, if there was a trophy, I would have 10.
Yeah.
I would have so many trophies to be like, look, my kid is the gayest, it's gayer than yours, and so much gayer. Look. Look. But there's no award here for that. Like, you got to.
There's not even a support system at all.
No.
I mean, you tried a lot with Hunter. That was really depressing.
Yeah, and that's how closed-minded it still is here. And it's like, okay, this one wanted to go up towards Atlanta and start a house and everything else. And I'm like, no offense, these kids down in here have nothing. They are stuck in hee-haw hell with nobody that's like them in any shape, form, or fashion, and parents that are cutting off the TV because they think Seventh Heaven is blasphemy. So, I mean, but that's what you got here.
How?
Because
That's just shit they think. Like, I remember my uncle wouldn't allow us to watch Disney movies because of the devil.
Oh, my God. Yes. Like I said, that's why
I mean, my little brother was brought out in front of an entire church. I was too.
Yes.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, I used to. No, the thing is, with all that you have is in community, is church at first, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, growing up, all that I was going to, I was partly in foster care, partly bouncing around family members until they decided I was too much. You know, I had a hard time with church, like getting picked on and like people realizing that parts of things that were essential to my being were sins. And, like going, like my mom tried to find a group for my little brother on Facebook. Like she went to the group chats and, and like the group pages. And she was like, I have a kid who's queer and he's having a hard time with like a group at school. He's getting picked on, like, and she just tried to ask for like a community. Cause it takes a village.
This is a group of, 25,000 people. One of the discussion pages around here, and I'm like, hey, got a gay kid? What's up? Y'all got any gay kids? There's nothing to do around here. Let's see what's going on. And really, it was more to say, I know what the hell you're going through. It's cool. Everything will be all right. Our kids can play together.
I was gonna say, I want to say, like, it's also cool to see that technology has gotten to a point where you could have access to that, because I guess there's generations of people who had to go through that alone.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, the thing is what's horrible about it is that we still did. Because even in a world of information, there's a backhand to it. And that information led us to believe and understand that there were a lot of people who wanted to choose to comment, I'm sorry your kid's gay, instead of saying, he can be friends with my kid because I won't raise a bigot.
Scrolling. I feel like those people can just...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, access to information may not always be a good thing, because my little brother was realizing that in a world that was supposed to be bigger than the world he lived in, they still hated him.
Well, seeing stuff like that, I never actually told them that I did. I've never really tried to embarrass my kids, but, at the same time... Okay, I think it's Instagram that allows you to change like the name of the group chat and stuff like that.
All of them.
Okay, well, my bad. So anyway, so he came home and he was really, really pissed one day, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And apparently, some other kids, had started this little group chat thing, and then sent him a request, and then the whole name was Hunter is Gay, and. Anyway, they were sitting there talking about, well, what do you like and all this other stuff. So he didn't know I saw it, but I see everything. I have a keylogger on my modem, so like I'm down with it. Don't fuck with me. Yeah, I know. Like Chris knows what a keylogger is, don't you? So yeah, I'm good. Y'all are safe. You're on the guest one, but
I was just thinking, oh shit.
Like honestly, unless you got something super bad that it's gonna tag me in, it's used to normal porn, so you should be all right. Yeah, my search history
All right.
is dangerous.
Jesus Christ.
But anyway, the whole point, he didn't know I saw him. So my overall thing is I went to the principal and I'm like, dude, like, you must do something. If you do not do this, then I will become your worst fucking nightmare. So the little bastards got suspended. And then 2 months later, here we are in Christmas. And then we got the chorus thing. And then the chorus starts singing all these hymns and everything else. And it wasn't 6 months before that. Hunter was put in front of a jury of, his church peers. And, let's pray the gay away. You can't do that.
That happened to me in 4 different churches.
I was saying, that's enough. Y'all need to quit it. Back the fuck up. Get the hell off my kids. Like, free
Alright,
will is free
I was
will.
gonna say, but at some point, like, I know if I was at a church
We're hunted down like witches.
and I saw that, I'd be like, hey, y'all, should we really be doing this?
I know, but you're going to get ostracized as well. It's no different than being in a cult or anything like that. You have to think, like, in the town, like, I would just say, Franklin,
Pike
Georgia.
County,
Yeah,
Georgia.
Pike County. I mean, you're dealing with a population of 6,000 people, and I guarantee you 5,500 of those are at every damn church on Sunday.
No, it's more than they've got a church right across from the school building in Pike County. They've got a church that was...
I've driven past that. It's huge.
yes, it's huge. But that's the second one that they've got.
Oh, come on, that giant tax-free building that a lot of people could be living in, and,
You say
everything
that, not
else.
me.
Church is a business. Religion is a business. That's why they're coming out saying, "Oh, we like gay people now."
Well, I mean...
Losing revenue.
The thing is like, I had such a hard time... Because I stood in front of a church of 14 people. I stood in front of a church of 200. And all of those people were concerned for my well-being over who I was sleeping with. And I wasn't even sleeping with somebody.
That's
They
gross.
had no proof of who I was sleeping with. I was still...
I still can't envision myself at church singing and praising, and then all of a sudden it goes to that. Like,
No, but a lot of the times
Welcome.
these were pre-planned.
Yeah, most of the time it's like an
It was family participation, foster participation.
It's an
like-
intervention.
Yeah, I was just about to say. So is it like an intervention?
Yes, it's and that's the thing. Like,
Pray the gay away
it's not
here.
just that. Your school will do it too.
Oh, yeah?
I was pulled into a 6th grade. Sorry, I was pulled into a 6th grade counselor, and she told me after I complained about somebody calling me a faggot, and I was crying at the lunchroom because I'm in fucking 6th grade, and I'm like having trouble at home, and it's fucking miserable, and on top of that, everybody at school's awful. So like, she told me, "Do you think maybe it's because of the earring or the way you walk?"
Oh my god.
That was her response to me getting bullied.
Instead of
I went to a alternative school in freshman year because I was getting bullied so bad there were death threats being sent to my home. I was being followed home from school, followed in the hallways. My friends were being pushed against lockers. Death threats were being put in my locker, and it was we had a protest about the day of silence, and they wrote Leviticus on it. They wrote Leviticus on my locker.
the Deep South is fucking.
They slapped a red A on one of my jackets, and they don't even know what it's from, but then they laughed and said A for AIDS. Bless their fucking hearts.
God damn.
Which, by the way, statistically speaking, straight people have it more. Y'all nasty. So anyway, like it's... I graduated in 2017. I'm 21 years old. These are supposed to be the best years of my life, and I had to tell my boyfriend that if we ever want to get married, we're going to have to jump on that before our rights get taken away so it'll actually be viewed as a marriage. You have a privilege. You've got a fucking privilege. And I mean, we're standing up. We're fighting for it better now than we ever have. But, like, yeah, I've definitely seen the impact on my mom. I've seen her, like, in tears. I've seen us move to Las Vegas so that way my brother can have an opportunity in a public school.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was willing to move all the way across the country. It didn't matter to me. Everybody's like, why are you going? Because I'm not going to watch my kid get ostracized for being a fucking kid. I mean, okay, once again, since when did we go from every man in a court and every man walking down the street having a wig and makeup on to, oh, shit, you can't do that no more? So when did this happen? When did somebody just wake up and, well, that's not manly? Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you should look at some of them pictures. Yeah. All them bitches have wigs on. Every damn one of them. And now if a man wears a wig, it's like, oh, shit. Well, what are we going to do with that thing? And that's, I mean, it's just, like I said, we went so far-fetched into this crazy, like, what the hell is going on? Like, really, why do we care what you wear? Who you fuck?
Well,
Why do we care?
Your generation
Nosy.
is a little bit more like, our generation is more like widely accepting.
My generation is fuck it.
Well, yeah, but like before that, like, I mean, we've had our parades that obviously that's like kind of led us to this, but like in a world of COVID, we've had like different ways of protesting. And I mean, it's interesting to see like how activism has changed so much. And I kind of want your perspective on how activism has changed and boiled over from your generation.
Activism hasn't changed at all. I mean, if you go back, we've had constant, everybody says riots, but I mean, people are just partying, breaking shit. So call it what you want. I mean, move out of the way. Like, for real. If they want to break shit, you got insurance, fucking move. You're fine. So, anyway, but no, to me, it hasn't changed. It's just people know about it more. Because instead of, okay, if 30 years ago you had a protest in this tiny-ass little town and they were walking through there with 60 people, you wouldn't even fucking know. Like, you wouldn't know. Now it's constantly in your face. But, I mean, still, one of the biggest protests and the biggest marches we've ever had is the Women's March on Washington. So, I mean, Vaginas is still rule there. So, it's more publicized now. Like, it really is. Instance, it's more publicized.
With COVID, like how TikTokers were, like, using the algorithm against itself. We were all sharing about, like, how we should all add on, like, take a ticket for Donald Trump's pep rallies and his ratings.
That was funny. Down. Good job, guys.
That was, I mean, that's kind of like activism boiled over, but like our generation has really changed it. Like,
but, I mean, we didn't even know that was really an option back then.
Whereas the women's rights, though, when it started off, it was very loud and aggressive, and because it had to be. But then, it wasn't really loud and aggressive. It was more so like loud and aggressive and in your face, but it was super strategic. And then it went from that to just rallies and, stand-ins.
Let's go back to the 90s. Let's go back to Rodney King. All right, that dude got beat. Like, he got hit 72 times, pulled out of his car for no reason.
How old were you when you saw that?
When I saw, what was that, like 92? Mm-hmm. So I was 7, 8 years old. And see, the tape of him actually getting beat didn't come out until afterwards. All of that didn't come out until later. All we saw were riots and people getting pulled out of their cars and, beat all to hell. That's all we saw. And we were like, oh, God, black people, they're going to kill us all. And that's really what we were taught. Like, I'm not trying to be.
That's exactly what the media does.
Right. And our grandparents were sitting there going, oh, shit, we ain't never seen TV, much less color TV. And then, everybody's rioting. What the hell is going to happen? So, yes, some little old lady sitting there telling her kids, and like I said, there was no other outlet for us to listen to or anything like that. But, my parents were sitting there freaking out, going, holy shit, it's a race war. Well, dude, there's been one for years. Like, that's just what it is. People like a common hatred. Like, it doesn't matter which way you slice it. Everybody likes something to hate. Like, you can choose the right thing to hate, like government and shit like that, or, you can choose the wrong thing to hate, which is the color of somebody's fucking skin. It's like being born with 3 eyeballs. You can't help that shit.
Exactly.
I mean,
well,
damn.
I think,
like, as far as the information now is different. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad that we have the ability to see other opinions, other people. That's something we didn't have back in the 90s. All we had is Fox News, and you better watch that shit. And that was God talking to you.
But I feel at the same time, you should be able to watch the other news and take what you can from it. Don't automatically push against it. See, I see a lot of people sort of trying to lean into other theorists.
Right. Yeah. Well, that goes back to your overall thing. You got his story, her story, and the truth.
Yeah, my mom urges us to watch. We don't watch regular news. We watch world news.
Yes.
And it's all because they have reporters who if you are at all biased. Well, no, it's not even just that they hate America. If you're at all biased, you were ostracized for it, fired for it because you're working for a world center. You're not working for a country center. It's a world center, not state by state, not your city. You don't have room for bias. You have room for only information. And that's another representation of activism boiling over from your generation. The activism to
check your facts.
Yeah, I mean, all of the
Ooh, that's
pioneers.
huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Like,
So-
check your facts.
So, this past weekend, there was a rumor that a bunch of like neo-Nazis and Klansmen that they're going to start doing their initiations that weekend.
I saw that.
And I got that. My mom, she texted me. She was like, "Hey, like I got this from someone from church or something like that on Facebook." And she's like, "Yeah, like
Everybody batten down the hatches.
yeah." So at that point, everyone was like passing it around to everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's kind of, what's
let
up
me
with this?
fact check this and see what's really going on. It was a hoax.
You want to
Okay.
know how I fact checked it?
What?
So they kept saying that was an official statement from the police, and it said something like Tryna, like TRYNNA. I'm like,
I'm trying to
police-
kid you.
police ain't gonna. It was like the grammar in the thing that's
what threw it
what
off?
was. Yeah, I was like, come on now.
Oh, so you mean like the fake ad that you see on, whatever, and you're like, oh, you buy now. I'm like, no, fucking no. No,
Yes.
I'm not doing that. Like, use your words correctly, and I might buy
Yeah.
it now.
So I fact checked, and I literally the first Google search was Georgia's own NAACP chapter saying, "No, this is a hoax.
But, okay.
We have no credible sources about this stuff."
But I mean, this is how
Misinformation.
this is how it snowballs. It's things like, okay,
Yes.
like the sexual thing against Justin Bieber. That's how fast things snowball when you don't just Google it.
Or like saying
Or
that your vote-in
Safari
ballots
it,
are going
or-
to be like not really read, and then you tell everybody not to vote through mail-in, and then the people who think you're an idiot vote through mail-in, and then you lose the election and cause everybody to have a whole entire recount because you told them not to vote that way, and now you're upset that you lost. But I mean, nobody voted through mail-in ballots because you told them not to.
Yo, talk about
Something like
recounts. Talk about recount. Is Nevada still like on their first count?
They're working on it.
They're working on it. Okay.
Yeah.
last I heard, they're still out there counting.
They were basically like, honestly, Donald, if you're going to make us do it again, why are we doing it in the first fucking place?
Y'all know how hot
Honestly,
it is there?
Nevada's ahead.
I mean,
I was gonna say, and
Wholeheartedly.
that's the 50th place in America for education, right?
like
Hey,
first off, there's
slower.
no,
We're
there's
50th.
no.
Oh.
Nevada has got an amazing education system. Apparently, we made too much money. Our kids couldn't even ride the bus.
yeah,
Like
no,
they
I
won't let
think
you.
we're 50th. We're
Yeah.
not like high up.
it's Alabama.
Alabama.
Yes,
If anything, I'm trusting. Well, Alabama standards are low too.
Hey, look, yeah. I mean, my family hails from Alabama, so they can go back. I'll stay here.
So before we offend a bunch of other states by throwing them down there too,
All of our drinks are
Florida
blue.
or Florida.
I am Alabamian.
All of our drinks are blue.
I want to thank Mikki for being on this week, and that is episode
Thanks, Mom.
19.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank y'all very much.
We're gonna do this next week. Again, catch next week's episode on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I think we're gonna have a couple of episodes left, and then we're gonna take a break.
Yes.
Take like a holiday break. So just wanted to throw that out. So just make sure you catch these episodes. Make sure
Yes.
you catch the live shows.
Yes.
You'll have plenty of time to binge over the holidays too, because
Please.
we got
That's our
back.
Christmas gift.
Yeah, you're welcome. We got back pretty soon, pretty fast. We just need some tired time.
So once again, it's your boy Chris and the crew, the Unfortunates. it's gonna stick at some point. You're
The Unfortunates.
yes, Chris and the Unfortunates.
Chris and the Unfortunate.
Yes.
I don't like that.
unfortunate?
Yeah, you're unfortunate.
I was like, that one way. Her name is not first. Holy shit, no.
We
We're
are
gonna-
collective. It's it's usual of a
Jade and
man to put
Unfortunate.
his name.
We're gonna figure this out at some point. we're gonna figure this out at some point. But once again, thank you for tuning in.
It's a group
will-
project with two other women and a man
We
put
will
his name
catch y'all.
first.
We will catch y'all next
Wow.
time. Peace.